Why is Africa breaking apart? Tell me, Fern.
One day we're on Twitter and come across this picture. A new ocean is forming in Africa. A 35-mile crack opened up in Ethiopia in 2005. Wait, what? The African continent is breaking apart? No way, this can't be real. Or is it? So we went down a rabbit hole. What is happening here? Does this massive crack actually exist? Over the course of the last 6 months, we tried to uncover the truth. And ultimately, we decided to make the journey to this place ourselves.
I'm walking on the edge of a new forming ocean, of a splitting continent.
Turns out the story of how and why and where Africa is literally breaking is even more fascinating than we could have ever imagined.
Yo, Devs, what's going on? Why Africa is splitting? The equator? The tectonic
As
plates?
Day One Vox fans, this is our chance. Our own circle in the Sahara video. Well, maybe not as mysterious, but still. We start our research and come across this photo again and again. It could be Photoshop. We inspect it and it doesn't seem to have obvious flaws, but we are no experts by any means. So we do a quick Google image search, and even big outlets like NBC use this photo. So it's at least unlikely that it's fake. And there's a credit for Anthony Philpotts as the photographer. So we decide to look for him. Anthony Philpotts. We come across this Facebook profile, and we are immediately sure, yep, we found him. This man looks like he really visited the crack and took the picture. And we learned that he is Jackpot, a professor emeritus of geology and geophysics at the University of Connecticut. At this point, we are excited. So we write him a message asking if he would be interested to do a video call with us. We wait a few days. And Professor Philpotts really answers, and he says, no. Okay, let's move on. Even though Philpotts doesn't want to talk to us, he writes in his email that he is indeed a photographer and that he took the photo in the Afar region of Ethiopia. So the picture is real. But what's the Afar region? The crack is located here. We find out that it's often called Dabahu Fissure because it indeed opened in 2005 when the volcano Dabahu erupted. This eruption must have been quite powerful. On a website we read, when erupted, the Afar's camels and goats were swallowed by huge flame sand ash.
Oh shit!
What? In a paper, a scientist writes, 700 goats, 200 camels,
700
and 70
goats,
donkeys
700
killed. The volcanic ash and gases caused some issues for the locals, but thankfully no one died. Only one person was injured. But where exactly is the Dabahu fissure? If you search for it on Google Maps, you only find the volcano, not the fissure itself. And we can't spot it next to the volcano. So we look for a new expert who has visited the Afar region and find Dr. Derek Keir. He's an associate professor in earth science at the University of Southampton and has a really cool profile picture on his Twitter. Geologists really be flexing those lava pics. And this time we are lucky. He agrees to talk to us. Dr. Keir visited the Afar region about 20 times already.
It's basically positioned just north of Dabahu or northeast of Dabahu, between Dabahu volcano and another volcano called Gabho. It's more or less directly in between the two. I think Gabho is about, 10 or 20 kilometers north of Dabahu. So the vent site is about 5 or 10 kilometers north of Dabahu. And I suppose in the literature, the vent is called Daure.
This could happen in other places, could it not?
Used for the specific vent, because that's the name that the local people use for the area.
Alright, such a big rift might be recognizable on satellite imagery. On Google Maps we only see clouds, so let's try to find it on Google Earth instead. Ethiopia is huge. It's 5 times bigger than the UK, or about the size of Texas and California combined for our American audience. Okay, here's the Dabahu volcano, a little more north. Got it. just to watch it on Google Earth, ain't it? We want to know more about this eruption and the opening of the vent fissure, and we kinda want to see it in real life. So we search for ways to visit it. But it isn't exactly a walk in the park. It's in the middle of an active volcano territory. After a while, we come across Action Tours, who offer a trip to the Dabahu fissure. Okay, but who could fly to Ethiopia for us and go to this place? Naturally, as YouTubers, we never really leave our mom's basements. So, enter Vali.
See a traveler.
He is our former art director, does go outside regularly, and has been hitchhiking through the world since like 2 years.
Of course I'm in. I'm just in the middle of India right now.
Vali is making the trip for us, but it will take a little preparation. If you travel a lot, staying connected wherever you are is a must, whether it's video calling your family or watching your favorite YouTuber before bed. But dealing with local SIM cards in each country can be a real hassle. For your next trip, get an eSIM from Saily. It works just like a physical SIM card, but it's digital, giving you instant access to mobile data wherever you go. Saily offers hundreds of flexible data packages in over 180 countries and 8 regions around the world. And the best part, you manage it all in one app. It's super easy to set up. Let's say you want to travel around India like Vali. Before you leave, you download the Saily app, choose a package that suits you, and activate it. Once you arrive at your destination, your eSIM automatically connects. Now you can hop between countries and always stay connected, no matter if you're here or here or here. If you want to try Saily, scan this QR code or visit saily.com/ferntv and use the code FERNTV to get 15% off your first purchase. We can highly recommend it. Let's jump back to Vali and his journey to Ethiopia.
I'm inside an Indian truck. It's about 1 a.m. There's 2,000 kilometers to go until Chennai. I have 3 more days to catch a flight to Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. And since there might be more people watching than I'm used to, I might want to do something about this travel goatee thing. Hi guys.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go to Africa.
On
Actually,
July
November coming
17th,
up.
Vali takes the plane from Chennai to Addis Ababa.
After though.
Here, Vali
done?
meets Mesganao. He's from Action Tours and will help Vali to get to the vent fissure.
Done?
Tomorrow, they will fly from Addis Ababa to
Oh.
Samara.
Wipe
There,
your
they
mouth.
will meet the rest of the team. Then, they will drive with 2 cars into the desert and trek 6 hours to the Dabahu fissure.
It's a big bird is flying and God must be crazy. Now we are getting up, 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 up. Fly, Robin flying, Robin, Robin, up, up, up. It's just like that, up.
While Vali and Mesganao are on the plane to Samara, let's take a closer look at the splitting of Africa. The surface of our planet is always changing. The formation of our continents as we know them began hundreds of millions of years ago with the supercontinent Pangaea. It was gigantic and encompassed almost all of Earth's land masses, and it was surrounded by a global ocean called Panthalassa, until Pangaea had an existential crisis and fell apart. The shifting of the continents started slowly, 1 millimeter per year, and then picked up speed. This can be compared to the tearing of a rope. It may start slowly, but the last rope fibers suddenly tear very quickly. The tectonic plates can reach speeds of up to 20 millimeters per year. That is quite fast and roughly the speed of your fingernails growing. When the plates move apart, the Earth's crust becomes thinner, a basin forms, until the Earth's crust breaks. Instead of seconds like in our visual, this process takes a very long time. It took over 40 million years for Africa and North America to separate.
Oh, this is over. Oh, right now back. Oh shit, Pangaea. Oh shit.
Instead of
And
seconds like in our
motherfucking
visual,
Geo.
this process takes a very long time. It took over 40 million years for Africa and North America to separate. And right now, deep down, it's happening again. This is the East African Rift System. It's an active continental rift zone. It stretches over 6,000 kilometers, roughly from the edge of the Red Sea through Ethiopia to Mozambique. You can even see it from space. It consists of a series of rift valleys.
It's currently the largest continental rift on Earth.
This rift system is not a new phenomenon.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus.
Is it
And
now?
this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting in the
Nah.
zone and staying
I
in
shit in the zone? I
It
should
all
like,
started millions of years ago. Over the past 30
And I
million
know.
years, the
That's just
Arabian plate has been moving away from Africa. The ground sank. This created the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Along the East African rift, the Somali plate and the Nubian plate are drifting away from each other. Where the tectonic plates move apart, rift valleys form. From the Red Sea, the rifting extends southward. Here, the East African rift system splits into two branches, an eastern and a western branch.
There's the Eastern Rift that runs more or less through central Kenya, and then the Western Rift is sort of running more or less on the border of several countries like Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, and then a major part of that western part of the rift runs basically right through the border of Tanzania and the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then between Tanzania and Zambia. And then it sort of becomes one single rift again when you get down to roughly Malawi. The rift sort of goes through
Some
Malawi
geography.
and then into countries like Mozambique and Botswana.
The rifting process also created three microplates: the Victoria Plate, the Rovuma Plate, and the Luandro Plate. Along the rifts is a lot of volcanic activity.
oh, I like this graphic.
These
Sick.
forces are immensely powerful. They once formed Mount Kilimanjaro in the north of Tanzania. Today, it is the highest mountain in Africa. The east and west branches are very different. Mountain massives like Mount Kilimanjaro probably had a major
I wonder if there's any upside to volcanoes erupting. I wonder.
influence on the climate. They act as a barrier for clouds. As a result, you can find dry landscapes and vast savannas in the east and rainforests and lakes in the west. But this is the heart of the East African Rift System, the Afar region. Here, three tectonic plates meet: the Nubian or African plate, the Arab plate, and finally the Somali plate, which is currently emerging.
Basically, Somalia is rotating in a clockwise direction away from Nubia. So the result
shit.
of that is that the motion are faster in the north, sort of roughly half a centimeter per year.
Some researchers believe that a superplume is responsible for the
I wish there was a visual of these plates. Where are the plates located at in the, like, how is it close to the core?
tectonic
Close to the
changes right now.
surface?
A mantle plume is an upwelling of hot rock material rising from deep in the Earth's mantle. They look like a scary hot mushroom. And superplumes are the same thing but huge, spreading over hundreds of kilometers. A superplume beneath Africa is likely to cause the plates to move apart. When the hot rock material spreads under the Earth's crust, it presses against the crust with so much force that it expands and eventually cracks open. Wherever the Earth's crust becomes thinner, the land sinks. Here, the ancient fractures and fault zones formed the current profile of the East African Rift Valley. The Afar region is one of the hottest places on Earth. Temperatures reach over 50 degrees Celsius in summer. It's a very active volcanic territory. It should be devoid of life, but it isn't.
I wonder. If we let all the volcanoes go off, would it clear up the heat on the core? No. Gotta find something to do with that lava. Yes. Put it with water and make cobblestone.
After a few hours through the desert, we've reached the first town, the first village, Teru, in the middle of the plain deserts. So it seems we have reached some kind of tourism office and they're having a meeting. We have to wait until they're done with their meeting. So we just collected Adam. And he will help us navigate this volcano landscape. I think we're asking for directions. Car is getting fuller.
It's a huge news here. 5 years ago, there was no road for the vehicles. It was only trekking, about 6 hours trek. Very monotonous, exhaustion, full of exhaustion. But now they told me they have off-road like this. So the walk maximum is about 30 minutes.
Oh,
So
30 minutes
it's
of
so
walking?
nice today.
No way.
It's a huge news. Life is easy now.
Man, I was so ready to trek for 6 hours.
No 6 hours. No need to trek.
Yeah.
It's good news. Hours you can discover this area.
The tour goes on.
Okay.
Vali and the Action Tour team have reached their destination.
We're seeing how far we can actually get towards the volcano.
They set up camp for the night and trek the last meters to the fissure. Young men with Kalashnikovs walk with Vali.
Sorry, whoever has to
Yeah,
censor
isn't
out
that
all
cod?
these weapons.
Crazy.
Ethiopia is torn apart by internal conflicts and ethnic tensions. Tigray borders the Afar region. The brutal, deadly 2-year civil war began here in 2020 and spread to the surrounding regions. Human rights violations and conflicts continue to this day. Carrying weapons has therefore become an essential part of daily life for many inhabitants of the Afar region.
Tarzan?
Now there are only a few meters to go.
They're just standing on the edge of the fissure. Oh. Whoa. Oh, what?
Tarzan.
Take care.
What's it called?
Don't go to the tip.
Careful with the wire.
Okay? Don't go to the tip.
Incredible. Just watching the earth literally split into new parts. I doubt it'll get across on video, but with every step I take, it feels like the
I'm
earth
coming
is
to a new
actually somehow
revelation.
hollow.
Hold on, Tarzan. You're distracting
It makes a hollow
me.
kind of sound, and
I'm cooking.
everything
Oh, look
vibrates.
at those ears.
If anyone around me takes a
Oh,
step,
they're mine now. Can't do nothing. You're completely defenseless.
it feels like I'm not walking on stable ground. And there's this constant, you hear this, like rumbling all the time. Rumbling and like boiling of the earth. It's a
was
bit
I thinking?
scary, to be honest. As if the earth could swallow me any second.
This vent fissure is about
This- the
500
crack-
meters long.
crack does
but
not
it is
go
only a
down
small
to-
part.
It
What you
only
can
affects the
see from
land, it
above
doesn't
is
go
the
down
60
to-
kilometer long dike of solidified magma
What?
formed in the rift.
The 60-kilometer crack is visible with using some satellite remote sensing techniques called INSAR. Basically, it's a technique that looks at the difference between two radar satellite images that were collected before the dike and after the dike, and is able to measure the ground motion that's being caused by the diking. You see evidence that either side of the rift have separated by about 8 meters or so.
Vali is standing at the birthplace of a new ocean. In 5 to 10 million years, a new sea will form here. The water will rush through the region and make its way.
Should more or less go right
learning
through where
about
the vent is, because that is
lava
on
and,
the boundary between the two
volcano.
plates, the dike, and where the vent is on the boundary between the Arabian plate and the Nubian plate.
For the first time in human history, people can document how a new ocean is born. Countries like Uganda and Zambia could one day have their own coastlines,
No.
but that's far from certain. Dr. Kier says,
Hate seeing ads? Here's how to get rid of them or get paid to see them. Do you know how much of the content you see on a daily basis are
Use their
actually
nose.
ads? That's an ad. That's an ad. Yep.
it's possible that the forces won't be
That's an
strong
ad.
enough to split the continent completely.
In
Right
Afar,
now.
the thinking is basically that the Red Sea should continue a little bit further south into most of Afar, and then Afar will become part of the Red Sea, and ultimately you'll have a much bigger link between the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea.
Neither us, our children, or their children to the power of X will witness what will actually happen. But even today, the Afar region is an exciting and fascinating place.
The East African Rift is the last, it's the final remnant
Go ahead,
of
bite.
this
That's what you
rifting
want?
process of
Alright, go
the
ahead.
supercontinent.
Gonna see.
It's the last major rift.
Gonna
There's been
see.
periods of time where there haven't been
That
so many
these-
continents. There's been sort of one or two big continents.
were
Now
made
there's like a lot of them spread around
by-
the world. So it's probably quite unusual, you know, in terms of the geological history of the planet to have so many little continents.
Even aside from geology, this place is special.
I feel like these Afar people, they really embrace the spirit of this place. This place is nothing but
by celestial
permanent,
beings.
ever-changing,
They're
all the time,
handcrafted
so
by
quickly,
celestial beings and given to the humans.
just like their homes.
They can't be
Around
broken
2 million
through.
people live in Afar. Most are nomads, some of the last ones on Earth, and pastoralists. They often live from their goats,
gods
camels,
crafted
and from
them.
trading salt.
And
Afar
gave
does have
them the
towns and
humans.
cities, but most of the people that live in the towns are from people from neighboring tribal neighboring areas, basically, that they come there to work and run hotels and restaurants. I mean, there are some Afar people that do that as well, but the majority are actually living in the countryside, living a traditional lifestyle. And they have, typical, their own language, which is different from other parts of Ethiopia, and they have their own dress. They dress more kind of similar to people from Arabia.
During his travel to the fissure, Vali met some locals and had the opportunity to see how they live.
It's not better.
So this is affecting their home. obviously. It's a good thing that there's no like
Time to get shiny.
buildings and anything like that.
Okay. Goat milk,
Yeah?
goat butter. Right from the volcano. A little bit sour.
It was boom, boom. And those big stones, rocks, have been just shoot like flying star to another mountain direction. That time when it erupted, there were Afar goats here. They were just swallowed by the fire, and they were all dead. Thankfully, the Afar people has never been victimed, but their animals have been okay, fired by that volcano. Every day I come here, I see changes. So, sooner or later, I will expect even a big explosion.
Really? You got. Why are you so strong? Who's been
And
training you?
sometimes even there is earth movement here.
The Afar people are facing a number of challenges,
that upper body
including
strength, huh?
recurring droughts, disease outbreaks, and conflicts. There's also a chronic water shortage. So Afar people use the volcanic activity to their advantage.
So in many parts of the rift, especially around the Bahu, there's no sort of permanent water sources like rivers or lakes. But there is quite pure water
Really?
that's produced from the hydrothermal system. So what people do is they deliberately find kind of hot vents and fumaroles where there's water vapor being emitted from some of the fractures and faults near the volcano.
Vali even visited these fascinating water constructions.
They just put some branches and the water collects by itself. They can just scoop it out during winter time. Now there's some rain.
Now you're
there's
on the
lake
knee.
nearby,
It's pretty
but
stable
during
there,
winter,
huh?
They use this
Or
water.
the lap. Go ahead. Goodbye.
Fascinating.
I realize. With the gods.
We just spent the last few hours around the Bahu and now back to the camp. And man, what a powerful place is this. It marks the splitting of a continent, the formation of a new ocean, and much closer to home, much closer to humanity, the playground and oasis for the local Afar nomads. I'm so grateful that I get to be here. Probably less than a handful of outsiders have ever set a foot here. Well, I'm so grateful.
This could happen anywhere. I wonder, is it just pretty common because it's volcanoes probably? Damn. I'm surprised it's not a volcano. Maybe there is a volcano in America, I just don't know.